Alright, so today we're going to look at potting up some herbs, and I wanted specifically to show you this because these, perhaps you have gone to the garden store, picked out your plants, and maybe they're not looking so hot, like these ones. I don't want you to worry. They will recover. They will be okay. The first thing that you want to do is, if they've gotten a little dry or wilty, just give them a little soak. If they're really dry, it'll take a while for them to absorb the water, so you're going to want to soak them a couple times. The soil becomes hydrophobic, which means that it really doesn't absorb water very well. So when you have really dry soil, and this is potting mix, it won't absorb right away, so you have to give it a couple soaks. So I gave these ones one earlier. I'm going to give them another one again. And we're going to pot them up into pots. I have these nice ceramic pots made by my friend Yetta Steyer. Hashtag make Yetta famous. And these herbs are going to be great for just putting out on patio, and then depending on your climate, you can bring them out in the summertime and bring them in the winter. So what you're going to do is kind of match your plant need with your pot. This one, I think the largest, tallest one, its roots will grow down. I'm going to do that in the largest pot here. This is a oregano, pink oregano, which is really fun. And probably this sage will look nice maybe in this pot. We have thyme here, and then we'll do a parsley in this blue pot here. Okay, so this is a really nice potting soil. This is a nice organic brand, or the brand is Gardener in Bloom, but this is a nice organic potting soil. You always want to make sure there's some compost in your potting soil, and you can even add some compost of yours, finished compost, to your potting soil to make sure that it gets enough fertility for its lifetime. And that will help, because the ones at the garden store often don't have enough nutrients to carry the plant through its entire lifetime. So whenever you're potting something up, you want to take your little plant out, and its roots will often be root bound, or root knit, it's called. And so you can help your plant adjust to its new surroundings by really wetting it up and gently breaking apart the roots. So I'm going to do that here. This sweet little thyme. You're just gently loosening this root system. You can give it a little squeeze. They really can handle this. They're very resilient. And whenever you're planting something, you plant it right at the depth that it's at, its root depth. I'll put a little more in here. You want it to be firmly in there, and when you water it in, it'll help suck it in. Suck it into the soil, which is what you want. I will post another image of these in a couple days, and then again in a couple weeks, so that you can see that really don't panic. Even if your plants look really sad, they will bounce back. This parsley is looking very, very sad, but it still has a healthy growth tip here, so it's still producing new growth. That's what you always want to be looking for, even if it's been a little neglected. It will bounce back. You always want to make enough room for it to be comfortably in there. Plant roots do grow in the pore space between soil, so as loose as you can get it is really beneficial for them. So sad. But having all this new room in the pot is they're gonna be really grateful. Put way too much soil in here. This is great. This is a great amount of space for this sage. It's gonna get so happy here. I would maybe in an ideal world use a larger pot for this particular plant, but it'll fit in here nicely, and you can always repot your plants later into larger pots. It's kind of like musical chairs for plants. You're always moving them as they grow bigger to larger spaces. Love time. And their roots smell really nice. So yeah, even if your plants, if they look like they're being eaten or if they look really stressed out, sometimes just the act of putting them into a larger pot with more soil, with more nutrients, and a little compost even, can be hugely beneficial, and you can see results sometimes just in a couple days. Okay, so clean these up. And then you're going to water them in. So this is an important step. Some people like to just like soak their plants until it's overflowing, but especially when you have a plant that hasn't been watered in a while, your soil is going to kind of reject that. So what you're going to do is just steadily water it and then wait a minute. Your soil should glisten at first, and then as the soil runs down, it's absorbing through gravity and allowing that soil to start holding it. And you can probably do that about 2 or 3 times until they're really wetted up. And then right after you've potted them, you're going to put them somewhere with dappled shade for a couple days. So I'm going to put them on our porch steps. If you put them right out into the sun, they might get really stressed out because they just had a kind of traumatic for a plant experience. So you put them in a little bit bit of an ICU, a little bit of a nursery situation, so they don't get too stressed out. And your procrastinated plants can rebound and be really healthy and happy again. So, where there's struggle, there's resilience. And so, I'll show you these again in a couple days. Right now I'll put them in the shade. Bye-bye.